Welcome back to another dev update from the Discreet project. I'm here as always with Brandon Kerner. Brandon, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Real big news, I know. So let's get right into it. Tell us about the first Discreet transaction.
Yep. So as you know, in our October 24th update, we talked about being able to do our coin logic. Well, over the last few months, we've been working on getting networking functionality done. It's very important that your blockchain has a very good peer-to-peer network. And so we integrated that. We did a lot of work on the visor. And I think it was on the 9th of February, we were able to finally send the first ever transaction over Discreet, officially making us a blockchain.
That's amazing. That's really, really cool. I bet that felt great. Some vindication after quite a lot of work, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we're ahead of schedule. That's the best part about it, is that, we didn't expect to have a blockchain for a while, but here we are, first quarter of 2022, and here it is.
Well, that's always nice to hear. And that must mean that Testnet is around the corner.
Testnet will be coming up. We're definitely making steps towards public testnet, and we're really excited to show off more in the coming months.
That's great to hear. And what else is going on development-wise?
Well, I'm going to get into a little bit of detail on specifically what we've been working on to make the first ever transaction work. Well, the first thing being implemented our peer-to-peer network. So we have each peer being handled on a pool of connections, and we have peer exchange. And one of the big things we also have is for every packet type in the network, which we specified, we have a handler associated with that packet type. And that's what allows us to propagate transactions and blocks. And it allows us to have a lot of rich functionality in the actual networking side of the blockchain. But the big thing about that is it allowed us to plug all of our coin logic, which we've been working on for a while, into the networking functionality, which basically allows us to have a blockchain. And one of the things we've done since then in the last week is we've switched out our backend, our database. So originally we were using a wrapper for LMDB. Unfortunately, it was a very primitive wrapper, so we've switched over to something a lot more functional called RocksDB. IOTA uses this as their backend for Tangle for their database. And it's based on LevelDB, which is what Bitcoin uses and Ethereum uses and a lot of other blockchains use. But RocksDB has a lot more functionality. And already we're seeing a lot of improvements in performance and efficiency.
Oh, great. So I know you've been laying the groundwork for this moment and for the testnet. What else has been going on?
Well, one of the big things now that we have the actual visor and daemon working is we're starting to actually flesh out our RPC API, which will allow us to integrate the wallet into the blockchain. So we can actually have a wallet GUI that people can use to send transactions from. And I think that's very critical. Yeah, it's very critical to have that.
Absolutely. What can you tell us about the roadmap?
Well, the roadmap on the website, we're working on updating that to include a lot more of like internal milestones as well as coding milestones and giving a little bit more rich feedback with our progress to the community. In the coming weeks, look forward to that. We'll be having a new roadmap on the website. So.
Awesome. That'll be nice to have. I know that for the time being, people can follow along on GitHub, but a lot of people do like seeing that roadmap, I know, sure.
Yeah, well, we're trying to basically put all of our updates on every single side in a format that people will actually be able to follow. And unfortunately, GitHub updates aren't exactly the best way for that. It gives them the exact progress we're making, but it doesn't give them, the nice things like these dev updates where they can hear it directly from me or another member of the team.
And if you're not technically inclined, the GitHub updates sometimes don't have the context. Some people can look at that and not know what it means. You could sort of have to speak that language.
Exactly. That's why we're putting these out.
What are some of the other changes you've been making to the code, in addition to the new database and the integration of the coin logic?
A lot of the big stuff is we're improving the serialization and deserialization of objects. So we've improved that. There was a lot of early on bugs because this was the first code we wrote for Discreet. A lot of the bugs that we were fixing were just minor errors in that. So I went through all of that and improved that. And another thing we did was we made the logger a lot more descriptive. I'm going to be going through the code and refactoring whenever we're calling the logger to make it a lot more informative on what's going on in the back end with the daemon.
Oh, good. That should help with troubleshooting.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's going to be one of the critical components for when we do alpha testnet.
Now that we're looking at a stable blockchain for Discreet, what are some of the other changes you're looking to make in the future?
Well, one of the big things we want to do is stabilize our networking performance to make sure it's as robust as possible. So just improving the peer-to-peer networking is probably number one on our list of improvements we want to make. And the other thing we want to do is improve the cryptography performance. So we're going to be going through a lot of our core cryptographic libraries again, like Discreet core, and essentially just, making them a lot faster. Again, it's mostly going to be minor changes, but hopefully in the future there'll be a few more features that we can talk about with that. And we're very excited.
Great. Looking forward to it. I'm excited too. Thanks so much, Brandon.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Keep up the good work. We'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome.